Okay, moving to the back of this worksheet now. I'm going to kind of go through these. I'm going to kind of forsake my three-step process because these questions are a little bit different, number one. And number two, I just flat out don't have the room. So I'm going to still underline what I think is important here. The father of a child has type AB blood. Okay, so kid's father has AB blood. The mother has type A. Which blood type can their children not have? So let's go ahead and give a genotype to each of these real small up here. AA, IB, that's AB blood, an allele of each. Type A, and if you need to go up and look at your key from earlier, that might help you. Type A can either be IA, or IA, little I. Now for these types of problems where it's asking what type their children cannot have, I like to go with the, I like to kind of go with the least restrictive one here, which is if you look here, IA, those are the same, right? So that's not really going to give us anything interesting to look at. However, if I go with the heterozygote over here, IA little I, maybe we'll see something different. So I typically tend to move towards this genotype when I'm asked this type of question, because it's the most chance that I can have something out of the ordinary happen, right? So let's cross these real quick, and we're looking at which blood types their children cannot have, right? IA, IB, and then let's go IA, I. You'll also notice on your cross, if you did pick this one right here, you'll notice that it wouldn't tell you anything because you'd really just be copying the same stuff that you have from this row, right? Now I'm gonna do something a little different here in that instead of putting the actual genotypes in the boxes, I'm just gonna put the phenotypes or the blood types since it can get a little dicey if you start putting too much in these little squares. So this one has an IA and an IA. That's going to give you type A blood. IA and IB is going to give you AB. IA little I going to give you type A. And IBI is going to give you type B blood. So the question is, which blood types can their children not have? Well, looking at this cross, what's the only blood type that they could not have? It looks like type O. I'm going to put type O over here because you can't see that in your cross. A woman with type A blood and a man with type B blood, so type A, type B, could potentially, that's a key word there, have offspring with which blood type? Again, IA, or IA little I. And then for type B, the same thing, right? IB, or IB little I. Now it's asking you about potential right here. So if I use the homozygous IA genotype, it's not really going to tell me anything interesting because I'm going to get the same when I cross it. I'm going to get the exact same thing for both of those rows. Same with IB. So if I'm looking for potential, I want to try it with this little I because that seems more interesting. Let me go put this in a cross up here. IA little I for parent 1, IB little I for parent 2, and then I'm going to make my square as per usual here. All right, so A and B is going to give you AB. B and I is going to give you B. A and I is going to give you A. And then finally, you'll get type O from little I. So the potential blood types is really all of them. They could have A, they could have B. I'll put types A, B, AB, and O. Okay, let's go down number 6 here. Mother has type A blood. And I'll just put IA, or IA little I. Husband has type B blood. IB, or IB little I. Their child has type O, which is little I. The father claims the child can't be his. Is he right? Well, we just happened to cross a woman with type A blood and a man with type B blood in question number 5, and we used the heterozygous version of those genes. Did you notice, were we able to get type O blood out of that? Yes, we were. So, father claims the child can't be his. Is he right? Technically, no, he's not right. The child could be theirs, right? we can get a type O blood out of a type A person and a type B person. So no, father is wrong. Okay, the mother has type B blood. Her husband has type AB blood. The child has type O blood. Same question here. Father claims the child can't be his. Is he right? Let's look at what we have here. Type B blood could be IB, or IB little I. Husband has, there's only one way to get AB blood. IA, IB. There we go. Child has type O. Let's go ahead and do this cross. And again, if I do type B and I use the homozygous version, it's not going to be very interesting because I'm just copying a row over since I'm giving up the same allele in that row. So I'm going to try the least restrictive thing here, and I'm going to choose IB little I. All right? Let me make my cross here. IB little I. And we're going to cross this with an AB person. IA, IB. Make a little square here. All right. A and B gives AB. B and D gives B. A and I gives A. And B and I gives B. So, child has type O blood. Father claims the child can't be his. Is he right? Well, I don't see a possible way we can get type O blood. Even if I use the little I over here, remember, because that's the only way it would be possible to get type O blood. And I still can't get type O blood because the other parent is always giving up an A or a B allele. So, yes, father is right. Father is correct. Okay. Mother has type AB blood. IA, IB. Father has type B, which is either IB, IB, or IB little I. His mother has type O blood. Little I, little I. What are all the possibilities of blood type for their children? So if this person's mother had type O blood, she had to give him one of these alleles. And the only possible allele that could be is a little I. So we know, since this father had a mother who was type O, she had to give him a little I allele. So now we know the genotypes of both parents. Let's put those on a square over here real quick. IB, little I. Okay. AB, B, A, and B. Possible blood types for children are A, types A, B, and AB. Okay. And that's it for those. Let's move on down to a lethal dominant situation. So this one's a little bit different. Achondroplasia or dwarfism is caused by a dominant gene. So I'm just going to circle and link this back to achondroplasia over here. Achondroplasia is dominant. A woman and a man, both with dwarfism, marry. Okay. If homozygous, this is the important part right here, homozygous achondroplasia results in the death of embryos. Okay. List the genotypes and phenotypes of all potential live birth offspring. Okay. Step 1. Make a key. Okay. Big A, achondroplasia, is a dominant gene. So we'll put achondroplasia, right? Little a, we'll call that normal. Okay, achondroplasia normal, we've got it. Now, a key phrase here, I'm going to put a star by this. If homozygous achondroplasia results in the death of embryos. And that's what I'm putting a star by. Maybe I can highlight it over there. I'll put some yellow. How about some yellow there? Oh, let me erase that. I don't like that. I'll underline it in red here. Homozygous achondroplasia results in the death of embryos. Okay, so part of this key, I'm also going to put some genotypes here. Big A, big A, big A, little a, little a, little a. So, Big A, it's dominant. Achondroplasia is dominant. However, big A, if you're homozygous, remember same homozygous, achondroplasia, that embryo dies. So embryo dies. So we never see these children. We never will see a big A, little a. They just don't exist. They never make it past the embryo stage, so we never really see them, right? Now, big A, little a, this is a viable offspring here, and this is an offspring that has achondroplasia. Okay, little a, this is a normal individual. Okay. So we want to list the genotypes and phenotypes of all potential live birth offspring. Again, for part 2, we got to get the parent GTs for genotypes. A woman and a man, both with dwarfism or achondroplasia, married. So we only have one genotype that will give us achondroplasia, and that's big A, little a. So we know if both of them have dwarfism or achondroplasia, they're both going to be big A, little a. List the potential genotypes and phenotypes of all potential offspring. Step 3, cross. All right. Big A, little a. Big A, little a. And then this you're probably familiar with. Okay. So, what are the potential genotypes of the offspring? Some of you might jump and say big A, big A, big A, big A, little a, little a. But we never see these because they are never born. You can never count these amongst them. So those are never born. Big A, these die as embryo. So we can discount them. We'll never see them born. So what are the potential genotypes and phenotypes of offspring? Well, big A, little a, and little a, little a. Also, for when we talk about phenotypes, I'll put dwarfism or achondroplasia, dwarfism, and normal. Okay, what is the expected ratio of dwarfism to normal offspring? Well, to get ratios, again, we just count 1, 2, that have dwarfism, colon, and then 1, 2 to 1. Another way of putting that, of course, is not what the question asked, but 2 out of 3, or 66.67%, right? It's another way to put it. But yes, we have to discount the big A because they are never born. Okay, our final non-Mendelian thing we're going to work on is sex-linked traits. So these ones are a little bit different. They kind of have different things you got to think about because this is a sex-linked gene, meaning they're located on sex-determining chromosomes. The genes for hemophilia are located on the X chromosome. It is a recessive disorder, so I'm going to put recessive. Hemophilia is recessive. Okay. List the possible genotypes and phenotypes of the children from a man normal for blood clotting. So this is a parent right here. Man normal for blood clotting. This is a parent 1. And a woman who is a carrier. This is parent 2. I just put a P2 right there. Okay. Are you guys ready? Step 1. Make a key. Okay. I'm going to use X's and Y's, and I'll tell you why. Because we are dealing with sex chromosomes. So this is located on the X chromosome. The Y simply means someone is male. If they get a Y, they're male. That's it. There is no gene for hemophilia on the Y chromosome. That is a sex-determining chromosome. If you have it, you're male. Remember, we've talked about this in class. XX is female. XY is male. Okay. Hemophilia is a recessive disorder. So we have a man that is normal for blood clotting. If a man is, well, before we get that, well, let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's label these a little bit better. So making a key, we know hemophilia is recessive. So I'm going to put a X and I'm going to put a little h up here, and I'm going to put a big H up here. Little h is the recessive form of this gene. That's going to give hemophilia. All right. Big H is going to be normal, right? Same basic rules apply. If you have a big H, you're going to show normal. If you have only little h, X little h, then you're going to show hemophilia. Okay. Man normal for blood clotting. Let's do step 2. Let's make some parents here. Parent genotypes. Parent GTs. Okay. First parent is a man normal for blood clotting. So if he's normal for blood clotting, we know he has to have an X big H. And if he's male, he has to have a Y because he's male, right? If we cross that with a woman who is a carrier, remember carrier is a fancy way of saying heterozygous, or that they carry the allele for a disorder. So if a woman is heterozygous, remember women are XX, the woman is going to be X big H, X little h. Okay, now we can cross. Okay, we'll put the woman up top here, X big H, X little h, and then we'll put the man on the side, X big H and Y. Okay, first square here we get X big H, X big H, X big H, X little h, and then X big H, Y, and X little h, Y. So there's kind of two things we're looking at here. Are they female or are they male? Do they have it? Do they not? Are they a carrier? So we want to look at the genotype and phenotype ratios here. So genotype ratios, X big H, X big H. We have one of those, so 25%. This should be pretty easy for you to do it at this point. X big H, X little h. Also have 1 out of 4 of those. That's also going to be 25%. Okay, X big H, Y. Also going to be, I'll put little semicolons in here trying to separate this. X big H, Y. Also going to be 25%. And finally, X little h, Y is also going to be 25%, right? 1 out of 4, 1 out of 4, 1 out of 4, and 1 out of 4. Okay. Let's see. List possible genotypes and phenotypes. Okay. So these are the possible genotypes. Now phenotypes. Well, we have female normal, right? We have one. I'm going to put F for female and N for normal. These are both female because they have X's, and they both have at least one big H, so I'm going to put an N here for normal, FN for normal. Okay, these bottom two are males. This male has a big H, so he's going to be normal, and then this other male over here has only a little h, so since he only has a little h, he's going to have hemophilia. So I'm going to put an H there. So 2 females, 2 males. Of course, there's a 50% chance of a female or male. Females, there's no chance of them to have hemophilia. The males have a 50% chance to have hemophilia. But these are our genotypes right here. Let's see here. Female normal. Male normal. And male hemophiliac. Okay. Of course, if you did want to, you could, come down here and say 100% of females are normal, right? You could also say, in reference to these two, 50% for males, 50% normal, 50% hemophiliac, if we're just talking about the males, right? So that is sex-linked. That is the final thing we're going to talk about here. The extra credit I'm not going to do on video. However, I recommend you do that on your own and show it to me when I get back. I'd be interested to know if you could do that. Maybe I give some sort of incentive for that. Okay, that's it for both worksheets. Thank you for listening.